Hey off-roader and paranormal adventure fans, just wanted to share the incredible weekend the wife and I had with some friends out at Calico Ghost Town. You know, the kind of place that has spooky written all over it, but ends up being more epic than eerie. Buckle up for a bit of a story, it's worth the ride. But first let me give you a bit of history about it and its ghostly inhabitants. Tucked within the undulating terrain of the Mojave Desert lies the historic landmark of Calico Ghost Town, a remnant of the Silver Rush intensity that gripped the 1880s. Established in 1881, this quintessential Old West mining town was deserted by the mid-1890s when silver plummeted in value. However, more than just the faded wooden storefronts and forsaken mine tunnels evoke memories of its heyday. It's rumored that phantoms of its former inhabitants still wander the rugged scenery. According to the colorful tales spun by locals and enthusiasts alike, the ghost town is aptly named for being home to actual ghosts, remnants of its once bustling community. Visitors and staff alike have reported strange occurrences that breathe life into the tales of those spectral inhabitants. Take, for instance, the wandering spirit of Lucy Lane, the beloved wife of the town's postmaster. Calico's most notable and enduring resident was Lucy Bell Lane, 1874-1967, affectionately known as the Queen of Calico. Lucy resided in Calico for an impressive span of 67 years, leaving an indelible mark. She was recognized for her warm hospitality and captivating tales of the historic Calico silver mining camp. Lucy was not only a witness to the history of Calico, but also a skilled prospector. In 1884, Lucy Bell King arrived at Calico alongside her parents, two brothers and sister, just 3 years after the initial silver discovery. At the age of 18 in 1892, she married John Lane and together they purchased a grocery store. Initially, their business flourished, but unfortunately, it eventually declined due to the plummeting silver market. The Lanes left Calico in 1899 but ultimately returned for good in 1916, settling in the Lane store building, which they transformed into their residence. By 1920, the Lanes had transitioned to the old courthouse and post office building, which became Lucy's cherished home until 1965. Following John Lane's passing in 1934, Lucy continued to live there until her own demise in 1967 at the remarkable age of 93. Throughout her life, Lucy Bell Lane left an enduring legacy in Calico. Her ethereal figure is often seen in the house they shared, which now serves as a museum. It's as if she's tending to her lifelong home, ensuring that its history is preserved and its stories continue to be told. Gentle and benevolent, her presence seems to watch over the town with a matron's care. Then there's the mischievous ghost of an unknown miner, a playful specter seen darting in the shadows of the Maggie mine. He's known to cause a ruckus with tools clanging mysteriously and lanterns swaying as if swiped by an invisible hand. It's as though he still toils away, seeking the silver that once slipped through his fingers. At the old schoolhouse, the echoes of children's laughter hang in the desert air, a haunting melody that defies the silence. Visitors report feeling sudden gusts of wind or small hands tugging at their clothes, remnants of a youth frozen in time, playing eternal recess in the schoolyard. Local legend also delights in recounting the specter of Tumbleweed Harris, the town's old prospector, whose ambition never flagged, even in death. He's reputedly spotted, with his trusty pickaxe over his shoulder, ambling down the dusty streets at the break of dawn as if heading out to stake a new claim. In the shadowed corners of Calico, the spectral legacy of Donald Willard Tumbleweed Harris lingers. His headstone, etched with the 7 years he donned the badge within this desert locale, barely scratches the surface of his enigmatic past. His life's timeline is blurred, but tales float on the dry wind about his 1950s presence in Calico and Knott's Berry Farm, where he adopted the persona of a drifting tumbleweed, never quite settling, always at the mercy of the desert's whims. He was born afar in New Jersey in 1906. Harris was a towering figure, with an unruly white beard and a demeanor as outsized as the desert sky. His final wish, to have a funeral procession plucked from the pages of a Western novel, cemented his status as a local legend. His internment marked the first of Calico's street characters, likely birthing a tradition as enduring as the town itself. Next on the list of characters of Calico Ghost is the Whispers of Daisy Dooley's ghostly tale. It is said her presence echoes through Calico's dusty streets, a tragic figure from 1887 whose life of ill repute spiraled into the abyss, her soul's fate resting on prayers for a peaceful hereafter. Wrought from the necessity of mining camp vices, her existence symbolizes those long-forgotten soiled doves, whose true stories are lost in darkness. The enigma deepens upon the revelation that Daisy Dooley never drew breath. She is a fictional siren, conceived in the 1950s to ensnare tourists with her poignant fabricated narrative. She may be a real person, but I'm sure there were women in that time that had her persona and lifestyle. Another notable character, if this town comes from the dusty pages of Calico's history. There is an account of a man named Albert Rowland. He was a mining broker from Los Angeles caught in the thunderous gunfire of Calico's final showdown. At the infamous Dickerson and Mosley Saloon, as twilight gave way to dawn on May 17, 1896, a card quarrel escalated into deadly violence. Rowland's life was abruptly snatched away by the cold hand of Edward Scollard, who was subsequently shackled with a 7-year sentence at San Quentin. The terse entry of the coroner on May 27, 1896, chillingly cites homicide, gunshot wound as the cause, enshrining Rowland's story in the annals of the Calico Cemetery, a tale bound to the land, as haunting as the desert moon. Intrepid souls who brave the Calico-Odessa Railroad after dusk might catch sight of a phantom train conductor, still issuing tickets to ghostly passengers bound for a destination that no longer exists in the realm of the living. While some travelers might wave off the ghost stories as exaggerations, as grand as the craggy hills that backdrop Calico, there are believers who tell tales of eerie occurrences with such conviction that even the staunchest skeptics might find themselves entertaining a sliver of doubt. These tales piqued our curiosity, compelling us to embark on this adventure and see for ourselves. As Calico's remnants loomed on the horizon, we approached with a mix of curiosity and trepidation. The once thriving Wild West boomtown had devolved into a mere skeleton of its former glory, each desolate structure a monument to both the allure and the cruelty of the gold rush dream. This was no ordinary adventure. It was a descent into the uncanny, a toast indeed, but to the spectral, not the celebratory. Our campsite, though nestled in the Mojave Desert's arresting landscape, couldn't shake the feel of an outpost on the edge of oblivion. The tents erected amidst whispers of sagebrush carried an air of those who camped here a century ago, perhaps oblivious to the fact that this would be the backdrop for their final act. The day was consumed by off-roading escapades, our convoy forging paths through the foothills, leaving plumes of dust in our wake, a madcap dust dance replicating the fervor that once drove miners to madness. Yet, each jolt and rev felt like we were unearthing more than just dirt. We were stirring the restless spirits of the past. The desert night draped us in silence, the kind that amplifies every sound into a ghostly narrative. Our campfire tales wove between reality and the otherworldly, until the contours of Calico became a jagged silhouette under a celestial canvas, watching us, almost beckoning with its own haunted gaze. Amidst the chill of the night, we chanced upon echoes of history, the relics of a once booming existence now reduced to fragments, each shard a melancholy token of the ephemeral human endeavor. There, in the twilight, these vestiges felt alive, as if at any moment a spectral miner could emerge, his pickaxe glinting in the moonlight. The greatest jolt came not from the unseen but from our own ranks. My wife, in a bright display of bravado or a desire to pierce the veil between worlds, called into the starry abyss. "Any old-time miners out here?" No reply came, save for a stray tumbleweed that scuttled across our circle, an unwitting emblem of the solitude of that blanketed ooze. As we retreated from our desert sojourn, our convoy departed, leaving a tableau of tire tracks against the Calico landscape. This expedition had etched itself into our collective memory, a narrative of laughter and spectral whispers, of dusty trails conquered and history's faded heartbeat felt. Calico Ghost Town, with its silver-lined past and eerie quiet, had become part of us. We drove away, already nostalgic for the otherworldly embrace of Calico's haunted embrace, contemplating the inevitability of our return. Because when adventure calls with ghostly tales and landscapes that stir the soul, the answer is always a resounding yes. And as for conversing with the spirits, it's not just about the possibility of an answer, it's about the thrill of the question. Our desert dance with Calico was a rendezvous with history, the supernatural, and nature's timeless beauty, a tale definitely worth subscribing to.